Gentlemen, if you're over 60, listen very carefully because what I'm about to say may shock you. The real reason your energy is fading, your strength is slipping, and your erections are no longer reliable has nothing to do with age. The silent culprit is sitting right in front of you, and you use it every single day. Plain water, the very thing you've trusted your whole life, may now be sabotaging your circulation, weakening your blood flow, and drying out the very tissues responsible for firm, powerful performance. You may be drinking glass after glass, yet still feeling exhausted, cold, mentally foggy, and frustrated in the bedroom. You may blame stress, medication, or simply getting older, but deep down, you know something is wrong. Here's the paradox. The more plain water you drink, the more dehydrated your cells may become. That means thicker blood, stiff blood vessels, and slower circulation to the parts of your body that need it most. But there is a way out. One simple change to the way you drink water can dramatically boost blood flow in as little as 24 hours. A tiny addition, smaller than a grain of rice, can wake up your cells, open your arteries, and restore the natural strength you thought was gone forever. My name is Doctor, urologist and men's health specialist for over 30 years, and today I'll show you exactly how. Before we go any further, if you're serious about taking back your strength, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another life-changing tip designed specifically for men over 60. And if you're ready to restore real circulation and vitality, type yes in the comments to let me know you're with me. Now let's dive into why plain water fails your body after 60 and a simple fix that can transform everything. 1. Why plain water stops working effectively after age 60. Most men don't realize how quickly it happens. One day you wake up feeling strong, energetic, and alive. And then slowly, almost silently, things begin to change. You start your mornings the same way you always have, drinking a glass of water just like every doctor and health magazine told you to. You believe you're doing everything right, but hours later you find yourself exhausted for no reason. Your hands cold, your mind dull, your body heavy, and you wonder, what's happening to me? Why do I feel like this? You drink more water thinking it will help, but it doesn't. You still feel drained, tired, weaker than you remember. It's confusing, even frightening, when you realize that something as basic and essential as water is no longer giving your body life the way it once did. The truth is simple, yet almost no one talks about it. Your body after 60 is not the same body you had at 30 or 40. The internal machinery that once worked effortlessly begins to change. Your cells, which used to absorb water like a sponge, gradually lose their ability to hold on to it. The kidneys that once protected hydration now start flushing water out faster than you can use it, washing away valuable minerals your heart, muscles, and blood vessels depend on. And while you may still drink the same amount of water as you always have, less and less of it reaches the places that need it most. Instead of nourishing your cells, plain water simply passes through you. It does not stay. It does not hydrate where it matters. And slowly, quietly, without warning, dehydration begins inside your body long before you ever feel thirsty. You might notice subtle changes at first. Slower mornings, fatigue that sits heavy on your shoulders, shortness of breath when climbing stairs, legs that feel heavier than they used to, a fog that clouds your thinking. You may feel colder more often, especially in your fingers and toes, and eventually you start to experience a loss you never expected to face so sharply. The weakening of blood flow to the places that define your identity as a man. For many men, the first true warning sign is not thirst. It is the silence in the bedroom, the absence of morning strength. The moment you lie to yourself and say, it's just stress or it's just age, but deep inside you know something isn't right. Something has changed. And here is the part that cuts the deepest. You can be drinking all the water in the world, and yet your body may still be starving for hydration at the cellular level. That is why plain water is no longer enough. That is why you feel the way you do. But there is a reason behind this change, and it's not your fault. It is not weakness. It is not aging in the way you've been taught to fear. It is a simple biological shift that can be reversed once you understand what your body is missing. Because the real issue is not water itself, but what water no longer carries for you. And once you discover the key that unlocks hydration from the inside out, everything begins to change. Which brings us to something most men never learn until it's too late. The powerful connection between blood flow and the strength of a healthy erection. Let's talk about that next. 2, the connection between blood flow and strong, healthy erections. Most men don't realize this until it hits them like a punch to the chest. An erection is not about desire, masculinity, or even arousal. It is about blood, pure and simple. Without strong, steady, powerful blood flow, nothing happens. And the first place the body begins to show a decline in circulation isn't the heart or the brain or the muscles, it's the penis. Long before a heart attack, long before memory fades, long before weakness becomes visible, the body sends a quiet warning signal through the loss of firmness, the loss of morning strength, the loss of the confidence that once came effortlessly. That moment can feel like a breaking point. It doesn't matter how strong you are, how accomplished you are, or how disciplined you've been your whole life. When your body stops responding the way it used to, something inside you goes silent. Many men try to hide that silence. They pretend it's nothing, make excuses, blame stress, blame aging, blame anything they can to avoid facing what it feels like to lose a part of themselves that once felt unshakable. But deep down, behind the jokes, behind the quiet frustration, behind the fear of admitting the truth, there is a pain most men never speak aloud. It's the fear that manhood is slipping away, the fear that you are no longer the man you once were, the fear that you may never feel whole again. But here is the truth that brings both relief and heartache. Electoral function is not a measure of masculinity. It is a measure of circulation. When blood can surge through the arteries and fill the chambers of the penis, firmness returns naturally, without force, without pressure, without struggle. But when blood flow weakens, when vessels become stiff, when oxygen delivery slows, everything changes. The body simply cannot perform. It's not a failure of desire, it's a failure of blood flow. Think about that moment in the morning that used to arrive without effort. The one that reminded you you were alive, vital, powerful. When it disappears, it's not your mind playing tricks on you. It is your bloodstream speaking loudly, warning you that circulation is breaking down. The truth is that the penis is the first organ to lose blood flow and the last to regain it. It is the most sensitive indicator of vascular health. That means what happens there is a direct reflection of what is happening everywhere. Your heart, your brain, your muscles, your longevity itself. This is why ignoring the problem is dangerous. Poor erections are not the problem, they are the symptom. The real problem sits deeper inside the vessels that carry life through your body. And if early signs of decline are dismissed as embarrassment or weakness, the damage continues silently until something far more serious occurs. But there is something that changes everything once you understand it. Because now that we've uncovered the truth about blood flow, we must reveal the deeper secret behind why the blood struggles to move in the first place. And it all comes down to something hidden where almost no one looks. What's happening inside your cells when you drink water? Let's go even deeper. 3, water cannot enter cells without minerals. Here is a truth that almost no one has ever told you, and it may hit you harder than anything you've heard so far. You can drink all the water you want, but without the right minerals, almost none of it ever reaches your cells. The water you think is hydrating, you may be doing nothing more than passing through your body and draining out minutes later. You swallow it with hope, believing it will refresh your energy and restore strength. But instead, you find yourself exhausted, thirsty again, and wondering why nothing is changing. The shocking reality is that your body can be drowning in water yet starving internally at the same time. That is because water alone does not hydrate the body. Hydration is not water. Hydration is water plus minerals. Minerals are the electrical signals that open the doors of your cells, allowing water to enter and stay. Without them, those doors stay shut tight, leaving your tissues dry, your blood thicker, and your circulation struggling to move. It is like trying to fill a house with water while every door and window is locked. You can pour endlessly from the outside, but nothing gets in. You simply watch it spill and disappear. And when water cannot reach your cells, dehydration begins from the inside out. Not the kind you feel in your mouth or lips, but the deep dehydration that slowly steals your vitality. You start to feel tired after a short walk. You can't think as clearly as you once could. You lose stamina that used to come naturally. Your muscles ache more, recover slower, and your balance feels weaker. You become cold more easily, even in warm rooms, because blood can no longer travel efficiently to your hands and feet. You wake in the morning feeling like you haven't slept. You nap more often, and then, without warning, the most intimate warning sign of all arrives. The strength of your erections fades, not because you lost desire, but because your cells lost hydration, because your circulation is suffocating from the inside. Every man who experiences this tries to explain it away.
I'm just getting older. I didn't sleep well. I've been under stress. But none of those excuses quiet the voice inside that whispers, something is wrong. And deep down, you know it's true. You can feel it in your body. You can feel it in your confidence. You can feel the distance that begins forming in silence between you and the life you once lived with certainty and pride. But here is the part that matters most. This is not permanent. This is not irreversible. Your body is not failing you. It is signaling you.
The problem is not water. The problem is what water is missing. Once you learn the key that allows hydration to enter your cells again, everything begins to shift. Energy rises, warmth returns, circulation awakens, and strength follows. So the real question becomes, what exactly are these minerals that unlock hydration and restore blood flow? And why are they disappearing from your life without your awareness? The answer begins with the first and most powerful one. Let's talk about magnesium. 4. Magnesium helps relax muscles and open blood vessels. Most men have no idea how devastating a magnesium deficiency can be until their body begins to break down piece by piece. Here is the shocking truth. Low magnesium is one of the most common and most dangerous mineral shortages in men over 60, and yet almost no one is ever told about it. It affects nearly every function in the body, but the effect that cuts deepest is what it does to your blood vessels. Without enough magnesium, the smooth muscle walls of your arteries tighten like a fist. They narrow, they constrict, and they block the flow of blood, not just to your heart, not just to your brain, but to the part of your body where blood flow matters most. The part that defines your strength, your confidence, and your identity as a man. Imagine trying to push water through a garden hose that is hardened in the sun. No matter how high you turn the pressure, the flow struggles, weakens, and eventually fails. That is exactly what happens inside your body. When magnesium is depleted, your arteries become rigid, your circulation slows, oxygen delivery collapses, and the most sensitive place where this decline is felt is in your erections. Because an erection is nothing more than blood-filling chambers of muscle. When those muscles are too tight to open, nothing changes. No matter how much you want it to, the desire is there, the signal is there, but the pathway is blocked. This is why so many men wake up in the morning feeling disappointment where they once felt pride. They look in the mirror and see someone they barely recognize. They wonder why strength has faded so quickly, and they silently fear that this is the beginning of the end. But the truth is far simpler and far more hopeful. Their bodies are not failing them. They are simply starved of magnesium, the mineral that tells muscles to relax, arteries to widen, and blood to move freely. And the tragedy is that magnesium becomes harder and harder to absorb after age 60. The soils our food is grown in contain far less than they once did. Our kidneys flush magnesium faster with age. Stress burns it away even more. So even if you eat well, you may be living in a constant state of deficiency without ever knowing it. And the symptoms appear everywhere. Night cramps that wake you from sleep, restless legs, tight shoulders and back muscles, anxiety that sits like a weight on your chest, sleep that never feels deep enough, and the quiet fading of performance that once felt effortless. But when magnesium is restored, something remarkable begins to happen. The body softens, the blood vessels relax, warmth returns to the hands and feet, sleep deepens, morning energy rises, and slowly confidence returns. Erections become stronger, fuller, more alive, not forced, not struggled for, but natural because circulation has awakened again. And magnesium is only the beginning. There is another mineral that determines whether the water you drink actually enters your cells or slips right through you unchanged. It holds the key to rapid hydration and immediate improvement in blood flow, and most men use it every day without understanding its power. Let's talk about sodium. 5. Sodium, the key that allows water to enter cells. Here is something that will shock you. Something almost no man over 60 has ever been told. The reason you drink water and still feel tired, weak, or dehydrated is because without the right form of sodium, water cannot enter your cells at all. It simply rushes through your system and leaves your body almost as quickly as it arrived. You swallow it, believing you are helping yourself, believing you are doing something healthy and responsible. But minutes later, you are running to the bathroom, watching that water disappear and wondering why your energy is still fading and your circulation still feels sluggish. The truth that few doctors ever explain is that sodium is the gateway that allows hydration to happen. Without it, no matter how much water you drink, your cells remain empty. This is not about table salt or processed salt or the salt hiding in packaged food. That kind of sodium is stripped of minerals and causes more harm than good. What your body truly needs, especially after 60, is natural sodium, unrefined sea salt or Himalayan salt
filled with trace minerals that carry electrical signals your cells rely on to absorb and retain water. These minerals act like tiny keys. They unlock the door and pull water deep into the tissues where it fuels your muscles, stabilizes your heartbeat, supports your nerves, and powers blood flow. Without sodium, that door stays locked. Your cells remain thirsty.
Your blood becomes thick, your circulation slows, and the areas of your body most dependent on rapid blood flow, your brain, your heart, and your sexual organs, begin to struggle. Many men experience the consequences every single day without realizing what is happening. They feel drained by noon, needing to sit down more often, unable to sustain energy through the afternoon. Their muscles cramp, their legs feel heavy, their balance becomes unsteady. They stand up too fast and feel dizzy or unstable. And perhaps the most painful sign of all, the strength of their erections fades because blood simply cannot move with the force and speed required. They feel themselves slipping away and they tell themselves it's aging or stress or fate. But deep inside there is a quieter truth. Their cells are empty, their body is trying to function without fuel. And then something remarkable happens when the right sodium is added to water. Hydration begins instantly, hands and feet warm, the mind sharpens, the chest feels lighter, the heartbeat steadies, blood moves again. The body wakes up, all from something so small it fits on the tip of your finger. A pinch added to a morning glass of water can change the way your entire system functions in minutes. Men who have tried this simple shift describe it as turning a light back on inside their bodies. They say they feel alive again. And yet sodium is only part of the story. Because once water finally enters your cells, another mineral decides how that water is used, how pressure is controlled, how blood moves through your body, and how your heart performs under strain. It is the quiet partner that balances every electrical impulse and determines the power of your circulation. Without it, the system collapses. Let's talk about potassium. 6. Potassium balances and stabilizes blood pressure. There is a painful truth that many men discover far too late, and it is this. Without enough potassium, your heart is forced to work harder than it should just to push blood through your body. It is one of the most dangerous deficiencies a man can have after age 60. Yet, almost no one is ever warned about it. Potassium is the mineral that keeps your heartbeat steady, your blood vessels flexible, and your blood pressure stable. And when it begins to disappear from your life, the effects are devastatingly silent. There are no loud alarms, no obvious signs. Instead, it creeps in quietly, slowly, tightening its grip until one day you wake up and wonder how you lost so much strength without realizing it. Most men don't feel the loss directly. What they feel are the consequences. They feel it in the sudden wave of exhaustion that hits after a short walk. They feel it in the pressure that builds behind the chest after climbing stairs. They feel it in legs that feel heavy and tired long before the mind feels ready to stop. They feel it in the racing heartbeat that comes out of nowhere when simply standing up. They feel it in the moments where breathing takes just a little more effort than it used to. They feel it in the dizziness, the trembling hands, the tightness in the neck and shoulders, and the fear that something deeper is breaking down inside their body. But perhaps the most painful place they feel it is in their intimacy, because potassium controls the electrical rhythm that allows arteries to open and close with ease. When potassium is low, those arteries stiffen and resist blood flow. The heart must pump harder, pressure builds, circulation weakens, and the most sensitive tissue in the body to poor circulation is the erectile tissue. Without potassium, the blood that once surged with strength now moves sluggishly, unable to fill the chambers fully. Erections become softer, shorter, unreliable, and eventually disappear. And in those moments when the body does not respond the way it once did, a man feels something deeper than physical loss. He feels a piece of himself slipping away. It becomes easy to believe that this is simply aging, easy to accept that decline is unavoidable, easy to hide behind excuses instead of confronting the quiet fear that grows in the back of the mind, the fear that you are losing control. But the truth is not hopeless. The truth is simple and powerful. When potassium is restored, the body begins to come back to life. Blood pressure steadies, the heartbeat becomes smoother, the chest no longer feels heavy, the fog lifts from the mind, strength returns to the legs, warmth returns to the skin, and the blood that has been struggling to move finally flows again with purpose and pressure. And when blood moves, erections return,
Confidence returns. The man you thought was fading begins to rise again. And what is most incredible is how quickly the body responds when given what it needs. A single serving of potassium-rich electrolytes after exercise or heat. A daily routine that rebuilds balance inside the bloodstream. A shift that feels almost too simple to believe, but once it begins, you can feel it in every heartbeat.
Now that we understand the power these minerals hold over your circulation, your energy, and your performance, we must talk about something equally important: how to apply all of this in a simple daily routine that transforms your body from the inside out. Let's move forward. 7. A simple daily routine to improve blood flow. Here is a truth that might shake you. Most men are only one small daily habit away from transforming their energy, circulation, and sexual performance. Yet they spend years suffering simply because no one ever showed them the correct routine. You don't need complicated systems, expensive supplements, or endless medications. You don't need to overhaul your entire lifestyle. The body is not asking for perfection. It is asking for consistency. And the smallest consistent action done correctly and done daily can create a profound change that feels almost miraculous. Every man I've treated who thought his strength was gone for good, every man who feared that decline was permanent, discovered something extraordinary. When he committed to a simple hydration-based routine, it begins the moment you wake up. Instead of reaching for coffee or drinking plain water that rushes right through you, you start the day by giving your body what it is missing: minerals. A large glass of water with a pinch of natural sea salt or Himalayan salt becomes the ignition switch. Within minutes, cells begin absorbing water, blood moves with more ease, warmth spreads through the hands and feet, the brain clears, energy returns. It is a shift you can feel not in weeks or months, but the very same day. It is the first step in telling your body, I am ready to come back to life. As the day continues, you support the system with magnesium. Not an overload, but a gentle, steady supply that calms the nervous system, relaxes blood vessels, eases tension in muscles, and restores the deep sleep your body has been begging for. Afternoon becomes lighter, calmer, stronger. The weight that sat on your chest starts to lift. The fog begins to thin, and for the first time in a long time, you feel like you are no longer fighting against your own body. Then when you move, sweat, or face heat, you add potassium to restore the balance that keeps your heart steady and your circulation open. A small electrolyte dose, half a scoop in water, can prevent the crash that once stole your afternoons. Legs feel stronger, breathing feels smoother, blood pressure settles instead of rising, and suddenly the evening doesn't feel like something to survive, but something to live. This routine is not a theory. It is not a guess. It is a system I have used with thousands of men who thought they were running out of time. Men who believed their best days were behind them. Men who looked at themselves and saw someone they didn't recognize. And they found that by giving their body what it needed, day after day, the body answered back. Strength returned, confidence returned, warmth returned, life returned. And so did the thing most men fear losing more than anything: powerful, natural, reliable erections. Not forced, not artificial, real. Because when blood moves, everything changes, and when circulation awakens, a man awakens. But perhaps the most inspiring part of this journey is what comes next: the results. The transformations men feel not in numbers or charts, but in the quiet moments that define their lives, the moments that remind them they are still alive. Now, let's talk about what happens when this routine becomes a part of you. 8. The results you can feel in stages. There is a moment in every man's life when he realizes that change has already begun, long before he notices the first visible signs. But what most men never expect is how quickly the body can rebound once it finally receives what it has been starving for. And here's the shocking truth: when you restore hydration at the cellular level and reopen the pathways of circulation, the transformation does not take months. In many cases, it begins in just days. The body you believed was slowing down permanently can surge back with a strength so real, so undeniable, that it feels almost unreal after years of decline. The first phase often arrives quietly. Within the first week, men describe a shift they can't quite explain. They wake up feeling lighter. The heaviness in their chest begins to ease. The mornings that once felt like climbing a hill now feel steady and manageable. Hands and feet that were always cold start warming. The mind, once foggy and slow, begins to sharpen. There is a sense that something is turning on inside the body again, something they forgot they were capable of feeling. It is not dramatic at first, but it is unmistakable. They go through the day without the sudden crash that used to steal their afternoons. They stand up without dizziness. They feel more present, more alive,
more connected to themselves. For many, this alone feels like a miracle. Then the second phase arrives, and it carries power. Over the next 2 weeks, sleep deepens, the restless nights become peaceful, the tension that lived in the shoulders and back loosens, the heart feels steadier, breathing feels easier. Strength begins to return to the legs with every step. They notice stamina in moments where they once struggled. They laugh more. They feel hope again. They start to believe that they have not reached the end of their story, but the beginning of a new chapter. Friends ask what changed. Spouses notice the difference in their energy.
And for the first time in a long time, they look forward to the day rather than endure it. But it is the third phase that reaches the deepest place inside a man. Somewhere around week 3, the blood begins to move with new force and circulation awakens where it matters most. Morning strength returns, sometimes suddenly, like a spark that catches fire. A warmth rises through the body, and with it comes something more powerful than physical change, the return of confidence, pride, and identity. Men tell me they felt like a switch flipped, like the body they once knew came back online. They say, I feel 20 years younger, I feel alive, I feel like myself again. And that moment, more than anything, is why I fight for men to understand the truth. Because this journey is not just about hydration, it is about reclaiming the life that was taken slowly and silently. It is about remembering who you are, which leads us to the final message, the one that ties everything together. The message every man over 60 deserves to hear before it's too late. Let's talk about what this truly means for your future. 9. Conclusion. Your best years are waiting to be reclaimed. There comes a point in every man's life when he looks back and wonders where the strongest parts of himself have gone. He thinks about the mornings when he woke up energized, the days when his body responded without hesitation, the nights when confidence came naturally, and he worries that those moments are gone forever. But here's the truth that I want you to carry deeply within you. Your vitality was never lost. It was simply waiting for the right signal to return. Your strength, your power, your desire, your manhood, none of it abandoned you. It was your circulation, your hydration, and your cells quietly calling out for help. Now you understand what your body has been trying to tell you. Plain water, while essential, is no longer enough. Not after 60. Not when your cells struggle to absorb what they once took in effortlessly. Not when your kidneys flush out the minerals that once kept your blood vessels open and strong. Not when your arteries are fighting to stay flexible and alive, but with a simple shift in how you fuel your hydration by restoring magnesium, sodium, and potassium. You give your body the chance to rise again. You give your blood a path. You give your cells a voice. You give yourself permission to feel powerful again. Blood flow is the essence of life. It feeds the heart. It sharpens the mind. It fuels the muscles. And yes, it brings passion back to the moments that matter most. When you restore circulation, you restore far more than physical ability. You restore hope. You restore presence. You restore the fire that reminds you that you are still a man with purpose, value, and strength. The routine we discussed today is not just about hydration. It is about reclaiming control. 1 glass of water in the morning with a pinch of real salt, 1 dose of magnesium to relax the walls of your arteries and calm the stress inside your body, 1 serving of potassium when your heart and muscles call for balance. These are small decisions, but when repeated day after day, they become a force strong enough to push back against years of decline. They become evidence that you have chosen not to surrender to aging, but to stand proudly in the fight for yourself. I have seen men who thought their lives were settling into quiet resignation suddenly wake up with new energy. I have seen marriages rekindled, confidence restored, and joy return to faces that had forgotten how to smile. And I want that for you because you deserve to feel alive. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel like the man you know you are. Aging is not a sentence. It is a chapter and you hold the pen. So as you move forward from this moment, remember this. Every sip of water can either keep you where you are or it can move you toward the man you want to be. Choose the water that brings life back into your veins. Choose the minerals that unlock your power. Choose yourself. Your best years are not behind you. They are calling you forward. And now you know exactly how to answer.